the main news was that the US Treasury announced that they're doing buybacks of long-dated government bonds. And so they were buying back the 10-year and 30-year bonds. And so I'll explain this concept very simply. Essentially, a government bond is like an IOU from the government, where if you pay them, like let's say $100 for a bond, the government will pay you back a fixed yield for a certain period of time. So like in the case of the 10-year bond, they'll give you, for example, like 5%, every single year for 10 years. And then they'll also pay you back the principal. So they'll give you back the $100 at the end as well. And so the lower the price of the bond, the higher the yield. But if the price of the bond continues, so if there's a lot of people that want to buy the bond, then the yield will actually decrease. But the problem is that recently, almost nobody has been buying bonds. And so this causes the yield to go up, and the government will therefore owe more money. There's more of a financial burden for the government. And so the government is already in trillions of dollars in debt. And alongside with a lot of heavy inflation, that's kind of the reason why no one's really buying these bonds right now. Because let's say inflation's already at maybe like several percent, then and it keeps increasing, right, with the political conflicts happening around the world, then there's it's less attractive to buy bonds because you're at a fixed rate. And so if inflation keeps increasing, you're not going to buy that, right? You're going to try to buy assets, like real assets. And so the government decided, hey, like this is a little bit too much. And so they actually stepped in to buy back the bonds. So the yields actually went down from the bonds. And when the yields on the bonds go down, then they become less appealing for people who want to buy bonds. And therefore, people start to buy more assets. And so bonds, because of direct competition for risk-on assets like equities, gold, and crypto, when yield rates decrease for bonds, other assets become more attractive. And so this is the thing that pumped the TradFi markets yesterday temporarily. But equities didn't move too much in the news. So as you guys know, I've been longing, SanDisk, Micron, all those things since months ago. But they actually did not really move too much on this news. And the reason why is, I think it's pretty simple, right? I think the bond buybacks were actually pretty small. They were only maybe a few $1 billion. But the bond market itself is trillions of dollars. And equities, the problem with equities is that they are a much more liquid market, and they actually hinge more on inflation. So the problem is that the inflation problem is not going to be fixed permanently with this sort of band-aid solution. And so for equities owners, really they need more drastic intervention to be able to curb inflation in the future, for this to actually positively impact them in a sustained manner. And so a lot of the AI names also are like debt finance, which means that these hyperscalers are really sensitive to inflation. And so the inflation problem hasn't really been truly patched. It's just like a short-term solution.